Like, I didn't see the new Flash movie because I don't fucking care about the Flash at all.
He kicks the shit out of the Hulk opening scene. You're like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, ghosts aren't real.
I'm like, those words don't go together. No, you're not.
Agree to disagree's a fancy way of saying fuck you.
Hi there, welcome to another episode of Agree and Disagree. I am the host, Nick Beaton. Today, I am joined by Andrew Barr. Make sure, if you are listening to this right now, to subscribe, follow on whatever podcast app you are using, and give it a rating and a review. That really helps, especially in the early days of a podcast. If you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. And if you're doing one or the other, why not do both? Give yourself all the options. So today I am joined by Andrew Barr. He's a hilarious comic. He just put out, or just recorded, a crazy special. Why don't you tell us a bit about that for a second? You just did a nuts special that is one of the most unique ways of doing a stand-up special that I've seen.
Yeah. I ran for 12 hours on a treadmill and then recorded the special immediately after. It was sort of, I wanted to do a big run this year to give some money back to the rehab center that I went to. I sort of put this idea together. The whole day was meant to be like a metaphor for addiction, right? Like running on a treadmill is kind of the same as being caught in addiction. You're like stuck in one place. You can't move forward. It maybe seems like fun for a few minutes, but slowly this thing is like breaking you down and breaking you down. And eventually you have to admit that like, I can't beat this thing. I just have to like get off of it. So that was kind of the idea of the day. The goal was to run on the treadmill, which I did at the comedy club on the stage, on the treadmill for 12 hours and make it 100 kilometers and then do an hour of stand up right after that. And I made it 104 kilometers and then I did an hour and 10 minutes.
104 kilometers.
Yeah, and shockingly, everything
insane.
went pretty well somehow.
So that's like what, running like to Barrie?
Yeah, pretty much. It's a marathon and then another marathon and then half of a third marathon.
Jesus. And then you did stand up afterwards, which was and you said it went well. To me, I think most people would be like, "Oh, I'd just be dead after that. Like I would not be able to tell jokes or
Yeah, I was
especially for
able
an
to
hour."
I was able to summon the energy. Part of the experiment for me too was I was curious about like to what extent an audience can revive a performer. Because you've done stand up for forever too. Like sometimes you go to a show, you feel like shit, you're sick, maybe you're coughing, you're really under the weather, and then you get on stage and it like just goes away. The adrenaline from being on stage and like the energy from other people sort of just like puppets you back to health. And I was like curious about finding the edge of that. I was like, can a crowd, can their energy be so friendly and good that it can like revive a man who has just run 100 kilometers and make him feel like he's okay? And I actually
Yeah.
felt not bad out there, except for my taint was so sore.
Yeah, those are the I guess the exhaustion is one thing, but the main thing, I'm just like, it's just being physically sore, like
Yeah.
all you want to do after that is like lay down.
Dude, I was so chafed. It was crazy. The chafing was really the worst part. I felt like the first guy in Predator that they find hanging from the tree. I felt like I had no skin.
All right, well, when do you have any idea when it's coming out? Obviously it's got to go through the whole post-production
Yeah, we're
phase.
just starting to look at it now and edit it, and yeah, it's looking good. Probably it'll be first quarter next year, I think,
Okay.
sometime between January to March, sort of deal.
All right, great. We'll keep an eye out. Maybe before it comes out, I'll have you back on around that time, and you can plug
Love
it.
that.
Especially if I have some actual listeners by then. We'll see. We'll see if this builds. But
It's
all
gonna
right. So
happen.
yeah. Why not?
It's gonna happen.
Why not believe?
Hell yeah.
So all right. So let's move on to the topics for today. Agree and disagree. The whole premise here is that I bring guests on. We agree on one topic, and then we disagree on another topic. The first topic we're doing today the statement is ghosts aren't real. This is something we both agree on. I will start with just a little brief reason why I don't think they're real. Um, I mean, other than the fact that there is no scientific evidence to back this up, I don't think there's ever been a credible ghost story that I've ever heard in my life. And I've heard a bunch. There are lots of people who believe in ghosts and they will tell you their ghost story. I've never heard one where I'm like, where I didn't think that probably was something else, though, right? You know that probably wasn't a fucking specter in that place. So you know what are your sort of convictions as to why you make the affirmative statement ghosts aren't real?
I mean, I feel the same that people's stories always sound bullshit. So often people are like, well, this happened. What else could it have been? And I'm like, the wind. Often the wind. You're
Very
ignoring
often.
you're ignoring a lot of shit. I feel like if there was anything close to credible that ghosts were real, it would be on the actual news, instead of, these like low tier TV programs where people have jobs that they made up for themselves that they pretend are real. Like there's always some guy like I'm a respected demonologist, and I'm like those words don't go together. No, you're not. You can't just say that.
Yeah,
Where
I
did you
don't think
get your degree in demonology? Shut up.
I w- I would love to meet a not respected demonologist. He's just
Yeah.
completely fucking just a piece of shit in his field. Look at this demonologist. He doesn't even use the correct demonology.
Yeah, controversial demonologist would be great. I also think too, like, I kind of think about it similarly to like aliens, is another thing that people, but there's like more actual evidence of aliens, and to the point where like people have gone out and proven it enough on their own that the government at least has to acknowledge it and respond.
Yeah.
And
I
we haven't seen that happen at all with ghosts. The
no.
government has not yet. Go ahead.
No. I think the thing with aliens is they I think the UFOs sort of phenomenon that's taken a lot of that's gone off in the last couple of years. I think there's something to that, right? These are obviously things we can see with our own eyes of these objects that are like, I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know how it moves like that. I believe obviously that there would be other life out there just by the sheer size of the universe. It would be ridiculous to think that there isn't. Um, but I don't know if anything's come here. Those could easily just be, tech from other countries, tech from the US that's just classified that they don't, even though government people have to sit down and say, yep, we don't know what that is. There could be somebody in the government who knows what that is. Like they're
Yeah.
just,
For sure, I
yeah.
agree. Yeah, all I'm saying is like the people who believe in aliens have brought it far enough that they have made the government at least acknowledge them and talk about it. And ghost people have not garnered nearly that respect or acknowledgement in any way. And I also think like if there was any proof that there was ghosts, which means proof of an afterlife, that there is something after this, some kind of like heaven and hell, probably the people that would know for sure about it would be like the elite of the world, like the richest people would be the ones who knew for sure first. And for my money, all of the most powerful people in the world don't behave as if there is any life after this. They behave as if we need to make this one life as good as we fucking can for ourselves because we don't know if there's fucking shit after this. If you knew there was an afterlife, why would you need to like hoard money the way that people do and
Well,
shit?
imagine they did know that there was an afterlife, but the rules are different than what we've been taught, and it's not about being a morally good person to get into heaven. It literally is about how much money you have at the end.
Oh
So that's
man.
imagine that's what, and they figured it out. It's like, yeah, no, we're getting them. I'm getting into heaven. I'm getting billions of dollars so that I can go to heaven. That
That
would
would be
be,
so brutal.
yeah, that would be like
Oh,
almost like oh, what a terrible, cruel experiment life is at all. Like it would just be such a clear definition of like life is not worth living. It's just
yeah. Yeah, I think if the elite knew there was an afterlife, like if you knew there was an afterlife, why would you even care about this life at all? Like it's like a holding tank. If you're going to live for eternity, this like, 80 to 100 years is meaningless. But everyone who's in charge of the world is acting like this life really is super important and matters a lot, and they need to have as much success as humanly fucking possible before they get out of here. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah, like
think
Elon Musk creating a Grokpedia, and it basically all the pages about Elon Musk are all very favorable. I just saw like a little thing on the news about
Oh
like
God, I didn't know that.
that's what it makes you become. Uh, um, have you ever heard anybody have a credible ghost story that you thought maybe there's something to that? Or I mean, I can answer from my perspective with a firm no, but maybe, I don't know. Sometimes people,
I haven't. I can't even remember anyone's ghost story that they've ever told me because they're all kind of the same and they run together.
yeah,
They're like, "Oh,
it,
I was thinking about this person and there was a cool breeze in the room. It must have been
yeah.
them."
Yeah, it's always like when somebody explains to you their ghost story, it's like when somebody explains their dream, right? You're just like, this
Yeah,
isn't interesting, and it's way there's way less gravity for the person listening. So to see it from like a non directly involved person, it's very easy to be like, yeah, the door closed or it kept opening because of pressure in your house, like air pressure, drafts, different things like that. Like it can happen. The fact that that's the thing when you argue with these people, and it's not worth doing. If somebody starts into a ghost story, just let them go. Because like when you're like, no, but about this, they get defensive eventually because you just keep asking questions because they're making a grand statement. So they're the one who has to provide things. And all they can end up providing in the end is just, yeah, I just know that because I could feel it and there was this in the air. It's never anything concrete. Like,
no, I think, and it's a little sad. They're just people often who can't cope with the concept of nothing.
yeah.
They just don't want to believe that there's nothing after this or that the person that they loved is now nowhere. And so that's probably why they get so defensive when, you could try to call them out on it.
Yeah.
But
Um,
and it's sad, but
uh,
I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it. I think Mima's nothing.
yeah, sorry. Sorry to have to be the one to tell you that. You are the one who made this dinner weird, though. I'm just going to put that out there. This is not on me. You brought this shit up.
Yeah, you can keep
Um,
your ghost shit to yourself for sure.
the, well, one of the other phenomenon of it is the fact that you know, it's the people who believe in ghosts already are the ones who have ghost experiences, and the people who don't believe in ghosts never do. It's you never hear from somebody who was like, sometimes I think people use that in their ghost story, like, and I don't believe in this stuff. I'm a skeptic. I'm like, I don't believe you. I think you do kind of
Yeah.
believe in it. Like, I
Yeah,
think
you're
you're
not
just
a
trying to,
goddamn skeptic.
yeah. If you're a skeptic, then why are you telling me there's fucking ghosts? No skeptic would say there's ghosts.
Yeah. I love that the ghost hunters always have their little machines you've never heard of too. That always
Yeah.
makes me laugh. You have no idea what it's like an old speedometer they ripped out of a car. So it doesn't.
I know though. What's crazy about those shows too? I've never really seen a full one. I've only seen clips, but the general end is they never find anything. It's like you know what I mean. So of course not. It's always just
Yeah.
like let's big up this type of thing. It's just lie. Anything that they show, they play within probably the confines of what they can say happened legally, right?
Yeah.
Like because you can't be like you can still be held to legal standards if you're just putting out outright bullshit lies, or you'd have to put a disclaimer at the beginning saying we made the whole fucking thing up, which
Yeah.
would make you not want to watch it anyway. So they
No.
can't say anything firmly. So everything is like maybe, or that was weird, or my weird little fucking wand that I have went like this for 0.8 seconds, and that's not something that happens at a Costco.
Yeah, truly every episode is like, "Oh, this room got colder for a little bit. Oh, a pipe rattled over there." Yeah, it never goes anywhere.
And then there's the examples of people like phenomenon where weird shit happened and it was like a methane leak or a carbon fucking dioxide or monoxide leak in the house that made people straight up hallucinate.
Yeah.
So,
I did believe in ghosts briefly when I was a kid, because
well,
I
that's the
found out
time to do it.
I found out later that I had sleep paralysis.
Yes, I had that too.
Yeah, which is super spooky
Yeah.
and definitely it was crazy. The first time I had it, I was laying face down in my bed, so I couldn't see anything, and it
Oh
just felt
shit.
like just felt like something was poking me in the ribs and I couldn't move. Uh, and I was like,
Y-
"Oh, this is ghosts for sure."
yeah. I mean, that's a natural thing a kid would believe at that point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. But then someone explained to me what sleep paralysis is, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this that sounds more like that."
Yeah. I had it, but not until I was an adult. And I had like 3 instances of sleep paralysis. One was I was in bed, my eyes shot open, and then like there was a sound cue. It sounded like really high pitched like violins screeching. And then my drapes that were these tall blue drapes, floor to ceiling,
Mhm.
transformed into a giant man, and the drapes were like his weird suit, and he was like 7 feet tall, and then he leaned in and started laughing in my face.
Oh,
And
dude.
I couldn't move, but I instinctively started to like push my leg slowly to the ground. That's what they say to like get grounding. And I
Uh-huh.
as I was doing it, I could barely speak. I went, fuck you.
Dude. That's so funny. We're the same guy. I have done that exact
Yeah.
thing to I had like a shadowy like demon looking lady in the corner of my room once and I couldn't move. So I was just like but it's funny because you want to like yell fuck you, but you
Yeah.
can't really move your face. So I was like, fuck you, fuck
Yeah.
you. I know you're not real.
It's the only reaction, right? Because you can't move, and you want to like, I could, but you're like,
Yeah.
with my last breath, I will fucking stab at thee.
Fuck you, giant drapes, man. I love that.
And then I had another one where it was um me and my wife were staying in a hotel. She was doing in Toronto. She was working like at this conference thing, and they gave her a hotel room downtown. So we're like, let's go. I'll come and stay for a night. And
Oh, every hotel has a haunted story
of
too. So
course,
like,
and you
yeah,
know what? There's way more murders in that fucking in those buildings than you think, and
for sure.
suicides. Right? That's where people would go to do
Yeah,
that.
it's true.
Um, but I so we were I woke up and I saw what I thought was my wife in like
Mhm.
again it matched this is all mine are drape related. It was she kind of matched the drape, like she was wearing like a long white thing which she doesn't own, like a white night dress type thing, and
Okay.
I couldn't see
Christmas
she
Christmas
kind
gift
of
idea.
yeah, yeah. Kind of
Oh,
reminded me of, but it wasn't her really. I couldn't tell who it was. It was just somebody who kind of matched that description. It was more like the girl from The Ring. Like it was just black hair. You couldn't see anything on the face. And then she just walked into the drapes and disappeared, like kind of formed into what.
shit.
Uh, and that was kind of interesting. But again, it was sleep paralysis. Your body is in like your brain, sorry, is in this weird half asleep mode, and things are firing, and so you're seeing stuff as if it's like as if you were dreaming it, but it's just really happening, so it seems more vivid and real, and you're kind of awake. But then when you
Yeah,
fully wake up, you feel it like, oh, this is what being awake is. Like
yeah,
that.
definitely. But it is a really weird phenomenon, and like the different ways it can happen. One time, I had a sleep paralysis experience where it was the middle of the day, and I was in my living room with one of my roommates, and I just like fell asleep on the couch, like I was having a little nap, and he was playing N64, I think, and I sort of like half woke up in sleep paralysis and I just felt like my body was getting dragged around the room, like in a circle, kind of in the air. And I could see him just sitting there not reacting to it. Uh, and then I woke up uh, and I was for real, and I was like, "Yo, was I like just doing anything, like anything at all? Like, did I look like I was in trouble or like I was kind of freaking out in my sleep?" And he was like, "No, you were just lying there perfectly still."
Oh wow.
It's like, that's wild.
Yeah. So it's like, it's an interesting phenomenon, but it is a phenomenon. There's a whole documentary on it on
Yeah,
Netflix. I don't know. Yeah, it's like a thing that lots of people experience, and they experience like similar things, right? Like, so that makes it odd in a way, but it's still a scientific endeavor with things that are backed up. Whereas, yeah, with ghosts, I'm not buying it. I like the movies. But I also like the ghost movies about ghosts less than I do about like other horror related things. Like
Yeah.
um even something like Hereditary, which I love, it feels like, whoa, is there a ghost or what? But it's a fucking demon and it's a cult. And it's so, I like that because it seems there's something tangible there for me to grasp onto. Whereas with ghost movies, I'm always like, yeah, okay, ghosts, I know what they do. They always kind of do the same things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
I'm also no ghosts, but like would love to be proven wrong. I I I'm pro ghosts existing, but I don't think that they do.
I'll believe in ghosts more when somebody tells me they see like a ghost from the 90s with a flat top and those shitty jeans and like,
Yeah.
like show me that guy. Tell me you saw that guy. It's always like Victorian age ghosts. It's never something more modern. Like people have been dying in the last, 5 years, 10 years, but are there none of these people are ghosts?
Yeah, you would think like people now from like the late 1800s will have moved on,
Yeah. Yeah.
be doing some other shit.
Your business is still unfinished. Like you died when we were still using steam engines. Like it's
Yeah.
past now, man. Like whatever you are trying to resolve is either not resolvable or it already happened and you just don't accept it.
Yeah.
It's been
At this point, it's got to be a you problem,
yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Whatever you're taking out on other people, this is your fault.
Yeah. Whoever was alive that you had unresolved business with is also dead and
That-
presumably not ghosts.
yeah, you don't even know anyone that you're haunting, you fucking loser.
Yeah. Leave us alone. Um, But we're talking about movies, so now we can move on to the next topic. This is one that we disagree on, and the
Mhm.
statement is superhero movies have ruined cinema. I will start with a caveat. I do like a lot of superhero movies, and I was super into Marvel for the first 3 phases, for sure. So this isn't like a 100% I agree with this statement, but I do have my issues with where it's gone and what it is. But why don't you make your statement, why you don't believe that superhero movies have ruined cinema?
I think if anything, they saved it for a long time. I think it's kind of on life support, and movies are lucky that they had the Marvel Cinematic Universe to like limp them through the 2010s and early 2020s. Because the thing is, like, superhero movies kind of started to popularize at the same time I think that Netflix and other streaming services really have taken off. And I think that's what's killing the theater, is that movies are way more accessible at home than they used to be. And that, like, especially now, if you miss a movie in the theaters, it is on a streaming service like 2 weeks later. It used
Yeah.
to be that if you missed a movie in the theater, you had to wait for like 6 to 9 months and then buy it on fucking DVD,
Hmm.
you know? So I think stuff like that is what's killing the movies more. I think, superhero movies were just like wildly successful. I don't think you can blame them for just like achieving and getting people into the theater consistently for like 10 years and now falling off. It's like, so, okay, something else has to take up the mantle now. You had
Yeah.
10 years to think of something to do after superhero movies burnt out.
Well, I
And
think you hit
apparently no
the
one was working on anything.
I think you kind of hit the right point. It's more so streaming that has ruined like movies. What I'll say is this. The ambition of the Marvel Cinematic Universe when it first started was in a way more cute than anything. Then it started to become, oh, this is real.
Mhm.
And then it became, oh, this is all it is now. Like we I would say that even superhero movies themselves have degraded in the sense that they're formulaic. They're more about a universe and a broader picture than they are about the individual movie itself. That's why I like the first 3 phases, because if you look at it, if you dig into Marvel, like that ending with Endgame was great. And you can look
Right.
back and go, of the 20 something movies that came out in these 3 phases, there's probably like three fucking real well, the end game and Infinity Wars included. There's probably like 7 or 8 fucking great ones, and then there's a bunch of like good ones, and then there's some that are just meh, and there's a few that are terrible, right?
Yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
the way it goes, obviously. But I find that they're more missed than anything else now because they just don't know how to expand past like what they're doing. They're not really trying to make good solo films anymore. It's all about fitting into a universe. And that universe idea in and of itself, I think ruined movies at least for a period of time because everybody was like, well, we got to create a universe. And like, not just like DC, which would be the natural next step, but you look at like there's this universe and that universe. It seemed like that was a thing that a lot of franchises tried to do.
Yeah, I mean, superhero movies are probably guilty of that, the sort of universe thing. I mean, certainly like franchises existed before
Hmm.
that and stuff, but not to this extent. And yeah, everyone is kind of doing it now. There's even like a Conjuring universe, and there's like then there's the Annabelles and there's the nuns, and it's all a part of the same thing, which you didn't really see before superhero movie shit for
Yeah,
sure.
there
And
was
I
just
think that
franchises, there were sequels, some of them were directly really connected, some of them were loosely connected, but of course there was that, but now, yeah, it's like, I don't need a Fast and Furious universe, like
no.
it's just a spin-off movie.
Yeah, and I think it's probably become, I guess, harder to sell like a one-off just movie that isn't
Mhm.
gonna be anything. It feels like sometimes they make a movie just to like, when one movie does okay, they did it hoping that they can make a bunch.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I agree for sure that the quality of superhero movies has really dropped off, and it just kind of feels like this limping beast that needs to be put out of its misery, but is like too tough to die.
And I'm still gonna watch some of these, like, I went to see Fantastic Four, like, I'm still, like,
Man,
I'm trying to hope that these things, like, they land on their feet. Um,
yeah,
yeah.
I think we have to accept at this point that it's impossible to make a good Fantastic Four movie. It
Yeah.
just can't be done.
I
I was
didn't
like,
mind that one. I thought that was the best one they've done, but
it was it
it's
was the best
hard.
one. It was the best one that they've done, but it still wasn't that great.
No. It's
And
very forgettable. Like, I'm not like, "Can't wait till that comes out on streaming so I can watch it again," you know?
Yeah, and I was like, "This is the one." I was like, "They have to hit this one because there's already been 3 bad Fantastic Four movies, and if you do another not very good one, just it's gonna be impossible for people to care about these characters." And yeah, I don't know. I like some of it was not bad. I thought here's what I think Marvel's been fucking up a lot is villains. I
Mhm.
think that they haven't been doing a great job at that. And I thought Galactus as a villain is a great one to do. And I thought they made him really boring and that he should have had more interesting dialogue. Like he's a creature that's like billions of years old and has absorbed countless planets and civilizations. He'd be so intelligent in a way that we can't understand. And I think so interesting to listen to talk. And then in the movie, his dialogue is all like, "Give me the fucking baby. I want to eat your fucking baby."
Yeah, they make
I was like,
one-dimensional villains, like, they're very, like, "Well, people wanna watch the Fantastic Four, so as long as they have something to fight, it doesn't really matter, we'll just" like, the lore of Thanos is there, and or sorry, not Thanos, Thanos was great. The
"Thanks."
lore of Galactus was there, and, he's we know what his motivation is, he wants the baby, that's pretty horrible, and he's a big, powerful guy, but that's it, like, there's no depth to him. And then the Silver Surfer supposed to be this more of a, again, a story that you're supposed to feel for because it's this person who saved their own planet by finding other planets for him to consume, and this is a tortured person. They made that. First of all, I really don't like that they made it a chick. I don't care that much, but I don't like it. I don't think it's great. Even if do a chick voice, but don't put the hair on. Like, you know what I mean? Like it changes the look of what the Silver Surfer is so much. Just make her a bald chick. What the fuck's wrong with that? Like, it's all CG.
Yeah, I could have vibed with Bald Chick Surfer for
Yeah,
sure. I
I
think
would have been okay with
I
that.
think the hair was an unnecessary choice. I think I'm not a huge comic book guy, so anyone who's watching this, feel free to correct me. But I think the mantle of Silver Surfer is something that can change.
Yeah, I think it's like it's Galactus's person, and it probably uses different people.
Yeah,
But I mean, this
Yeah.
is like a chance for you to actually make the Silver Surfer right the first time, and you automatically put yourself behind the 8 ball by fucking with it. Like the Silver Surfer is some people's favorite person, and the only version they got
Mhm.
of it was in the second Fantastic Four movie that was dreadful, right? So
Yeah. Remember when they made Galactus a cloud?
a cloud.
That
It
was
was
so crazy. They were like, coolest looking villain maybe that we have in the whole universe. But let's ignore his costume and his entire being that he normally is, and he'll be a big cloud.
yeah, yeah, ridiculous.
Unhinged decision.
One other thing I'll say about what superhero movies have done to cinema, and I think this is an actual thing in which they've affected it that isn't just on streaming or on universe building. Um, the budgets for those movies are insane now. Like there's the routinely 250 to 300 plus $1 million. And then with marketing on top of it, they have to make 700 million, $800 million at the box office in order to be considered successful,
Mhm.
which is an insane bar to set, especially in this day and age. And since the studios know people aren't really going to go to the cinema that much, they have to make these event type movies that are like, this is it. This is where all our marketing goes. And then a lot of other movies are like, and I understand this process, but at the same time, it is what's kind of ruining going to the theaters is that the movies that sort of fit into the category of, more deep, less action, those movies become movies where you're like, I'll just wait for that to come on streaming. So everybody with the studio's guiding them through it is making those choices. So these movies are just like the only movies worth putting in theaters. Big event movies, huge budgets, have to make a ton of money. And I do think because going to see a movie like The Departed in 2006 at the theaters, like you're like, that's a movie now that you'd be like, well, I could just watch that on stream at home. I don't need the big theater for it. But when you go and see it in the theater, it's way better. So I do think it's having that impact. Um, whether it's you can directly blame the superhero movies for it, or you want to sort of say it's a symptom of something that's already happening and the studios are pushing because every big company is risk adverse. Anything that could possibly not make them money, they don't want to do. So if they're like, this is it. And then once people do lose their excitement for these types of movies, you're going to look at like a decimated industry that doesn't know what to do with theaters anymore. And maybe that's just where we're going anyway. But
Yeah, I do think that since the dawn of superhero movies, and maybe this would have happened without them, I don't know, just again because of streaming, you hear people talking a lot more than they did when I was a kid about if a movie is a theater movie. Like it's like,
mhm.
do I need to see that on a big screen? Is it worth, because there's certain movies, if it's going to have a lot of explosions, if it's got really good CGI, if it's got crazy cool effects, you're like, I want to see that on a big screen. And then there's other movies that are, yeah, maybe like just like a comedy or something, a more dialogue driven movie. And people will be like, oh, I don't know if it's worth seeing that in the theater because I don't know if it merits the big screen, which is a conversation I don't really remember happening when I was a kid. And I think again is kind of streaming's fault because again, those movies you can see if you don't see it in the theater, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll see it in, probably maximum a month on something and I'll watch it then. Whereas like when I was a kid, we would definitely go see a comedy in the theaters, whether it needed the big screen or not, no question, which is a great
because
way to
that
see it. Great way to
because
see a
that
comedy.
you knew it was either if it was something you really wanted to see, you got to see it now because it's not coming out like in another capacity to see it for months and months and months. As you
For
said
months.
before, yeah, for earlier the movies now, yeah, like sometimes they're literally on Amazon, the movies in the theaters, and you can just pay $24, which if you were going with like a date or whatever, that's what you'd spend anyway. Probably it's a little less. And you're like, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing this movie. And I don't mind seeing it at home for this price. Like if you really want to see it, it's the options there.
Yeah, and I think like especially like comedies, it's a great movie to see in the theaters that people don't think about as much anymore because you do end up laughing like with a group of people and it has like a great community vibe and stuff like that. Which is an experience I got a lot as a kid and you don't see as much anymore. And I like as a kid, again, you were like, I gotta go see this in theaters. because it's not gonna, especially with comedies, it's not gonna come out for like 6 to 9 months, and people are gonna be quoting the goddamn movie, and I'm gonna have no idea what everyone's talking about. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
grew up in an era that I miss where like Anchorman would come out, and then everyone would be quoting that movie
yeah.
like forever. Same with like Superbad,
Austin
same with
Powers when they
yeah,
came out in the '90s.
Austin Powers, I'm sure back in the day, Naked Gun, like movies like The Big Lebowski that we quote all the time. I feel like new movies that come out, you never hear people, they don't have the same impact on like people's language the way that they used to, where like people would quote things a lot. And I think it's because people don't go to the theater as much. And with streaming, people can watch things anytime. Whereas when I was a kid with cable, everyone was watching everything at the same time, which
Hmm.
was kind of a wonderful community thing, like in a
Yeah,
weird way.
TV was a shared experience.
Even though you were sitting in your own home, it's like everybody would then go to work the next day and all have seen the same episode of the same thing at the same time and talk about it. And it's sort of a thing that brought people together. Whereas now with streaming, everyone watches shit at different times and everyone's like, "Oh, don't even tell me about that. It's on my list to watch later." And we're not having all these same shared experiences together through like going to the theater and also through cable television. And it's funny, yeah, and you don't see anyone if a new movie comes out, no one's like quoting it. It's not having that same impact on our culture.
Yeah, and I think going to movies too, it makes you the reason why there's like any movie is better to see in the theater because it makes you focus on it. I think a lot of people in this day and age will throw something on and streaming it, and they'll be on their phones half the time. Whereas in the theater, you can't really do that. I mean, people do, and
Unless
they're
you're a
dicks.
miserable piece of shit. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hate
yeah,
that
yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
You're the worst person, but most people are like, this is a area where I'm locked into this movie, so I'm going to follow it, pay attention to it, let it affect me the way it's supposed to. Whereas, yeah, you watch a movie at home and you're fucking half on your phone. You're like, you can miss whole key parts, and then by the end, go, yeah, that was all right, but like you didn't watch it, like you didn't
I
give it a chance.
I totally agree. Our phones make us disrespect the art that we're watching all the time, and enjoy things less. And I'm for
Mhm.
sure guilty of it when especially if I'm watching something alone. It's so hard. Like even if I'm just like, oh, I think I recognize that actor from something, so I go on my phone to see if I do, and then I'm on my phone for like 5 minutes. And yeah, you're right. The
Yeah,
theater. I'm so pro theater. It's all
yeah.
about actually focusing on the piece of art that a lot of people worked hard to make for you and experiencing it with other fellow human beings and talking about it and stuff. That's the kind of thing that like brings us all together.
And yeah, and that's the thing, right? So when your main movies, where movies are so expensive now, so you're going to pick a few a year or whatever, maybe more, but you're going to pick and choose. You're going to base it off the criteria of this is a theater movie, and there's just some subtler, more adult type, dramatic, deep movies that would be really great to have that experience with. And I just think we're having it less. I don't, as I started with the caveat, I don't think superhero movies are 100% responsible for this. We've already identified some of the other problems, streaming, people on their phones. But I do think that they are pushing a big chunk of it right now. And it was just because of how successful it was. How many billion-dollar movies did Marvel have? Like, it's insane,
Yeah.
like, so yeah.
I think superhero movies really did show us something that movies could be that we didn't know they could be before. And it's
Hmm.
sort of, they achieved these feelings that now people are like, I want that feeling again.
Hmm.
That it's hard to get from just an individual movie. Like you don't have enough time to build and create the same feeling that superhero movies did for a little bit. Like when me and you went and saw Infinity War
Yeah.
in the theater, I was losing it the whole
Yeah.
movie. But it's because they were able to build tension over the course of like 10 goddamn movies
Well,
to
even
get,
more. By the time Infinity War came, they had like 18 movies out or something
yeah,
like that. Like it was
right?
crazy.
For
But that's
years,
the
I'd been seeing Thanos like, oh, he was in this movie for like 2 seconds. And oh, in this movie, he's in like just a chair and he talks, but you don't actually see him do anything. Then finally, in Infinity War, after like hearing about this guy for almost a decade, and he kicks the shit out of the Hulk opening scene, you're like, holy shit, dude.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
like, it's made me a level of excited that just one singular movie couldn't really do.
Yeah. And the only downside to that is they were so this is where I have a problem with it, is they were so focused on the universe building that I don't think they had a problem putting out a couple of movies that they knew weren't that great, because they're like, it's just part of people are going to come see this because it's part of the universe,
Yeah,
and even if they don't really like it, they'll forgive it and come see the next thing because it's also part of the universe and it's going to matter in the last movie. So you're going to, like, I watched all of the movies leading up to to obviously to Infinity War, and I was like, there's some movies that were just like, yeah, totally forgettable, don't give a shit about it, like the second Thor,
sure.
Captain Marvel. I didn't
Yeah.
think Black Panther was that good, which is another crazy thing that I thought it was okay, but I mean the how much it was, praised, I thought was over the
Yeah,
top.
a little
um
overhyped. Iron Man
yeah,
2, very forgettable.
Iron Man 2 and 3 both kind of like, who gives a shit. All the
Yeah.
Captain Americas are good, especially the second one. The
Winter
Guardians of the
Soldier is
Galaxies were all
tight.
good. What?
Yeah. Winter Soldier's so tight. That's a very
Yeah.
good movie. And that I think they need more movies like that though, that are just not necessarily so big and grandiose. Like, I think they're kind of chasing what they had with Infinity War and Endgame, but maybe not realizing, like, you built to that really slowly with
Mhm.
movies that maybe didn't have as high of stakes, but just had, like, good character work and made me care about the people. Like,
Yeah.
the movie the first Captain America I thought was okay. Winter Soldier made me, like, love Captain America,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah.
superhero that I didn't give a shit about for,
Well,
like, my
now
whole life.
now I can go back and watch the first Captain America, and I like it even more because of how good the second one was, right?
Same here.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't like it at first, and now because I just love Cap because of all of the subsequent movies,
Yeah.
I can go back and I have, like, a new appreciation for the first one because 'cause I'm, like, a huge dick rider for him now. Um,
But the other thing too that they kind of ran into is that, hiring and firing directors that were good directors. Like Edgar Wright was supposed to do Ant-Man, and they
that'd be
ended up
cool.
using most of his story for the script, a lot of the best ideas, but he didn't direct it because he wasn't going to do what was right for the universe necessarily, right? Like
Right.
they ran into that being like, we need the universe, that's more important than this guy directing it, because there was a lot of people who wanted to direct Marvel movies after some of the success of especially the first Avengers and Iron Man and stuff like that.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I think that's an issue they've run into, um which is, again, I think, is it destroying cinema? No, but it's bad for it when you're like, no, the universe is more important than this guy's artistic, approach. And
Yeah.
then the other thing is, now with streaming, the series, the how many series there are, like, there's no way I'm watching everything before these movies. So you've already put me out of the running of knowing everything. I'm gonna assume you're gonna catch us up a little bit on the things we need to know for the movie to work. But I'm not watching like season 2 of Loki. I watched the first one. I thought it was okay. I don't care. I didn't watch Hawkeye. I didn't watch I watched a couple of the series, and then I was like,
Yeah.
this is enough. There's too fucking many of these.
There's a little bit too many of those. Hawkeye actually was pretty fun. I liked
And
Hawkeye,
I
but
heard,
you're
yeah.
right. Loki of season 2, I watched but barely paid attention to. I kinda wish that they gave Edgar Wright Ant-Man. I think that would have been fun. And I think the first Ant-Man is, like, the only kind of good one in that it's like character building, it's not a huge story. It's basically like a heist movie, like, the whole universe isn't at stake. I'd rather
Hmm.
see more movies where not the whole universe is at stake, but I really, like, get to know a character, and then
Yeah.
it's not for, like, a while where, okay, now all of the characters that I know and like are trying to save the universe. But I do like I'm still just grateful for the existence of superhero movies. Some of the moments that they've given us, I'm like, I never thought I would be this excited watching a movie. Like in Spider-Man 3, of the Tom Holland ones, when Tobey Maguire walks through that portal and I get to see the Spider-Man that I knew as like
Mm.
a 10-year-old kid interacting with new Spider-Man, thinking I would never ever see Tobey Maguire in a Spider-Man suit again. I'm like creaming in my pants. It's like
Yeah.
2 different eras of me are excited at the same time and freaking out in my body. And I'm like, yeah, I guess like regular movies can't really give you that. And I do think that it's sort of raised the bar for what people might expect from a theater experience to an unrealistic place.
Well, there is some, even though I didn't totally agree with the statement he made at the time when Scorsese said that they're like theme park rides. Um,
Yeah,
I kind of know what he means when he says that, right? Because that is the experience you're describing isn't a good movie necessarily, even though that movie was good. I liked I
that movie's good. Yeah,
Yeah, the
but they're not
story's
all.
good, it's fun, but it's like, uh that's what made that movie so great is it had that, but it mattered and it was good, and you know what I mean? Like the story and the characters, the acting, all of it was good, and then you put that, it's a nice cherry on top. There's unfortunately just too much of, you know, that's all, that is the selling point. Like I didn't see the new Flash movie because I don't fucking care about the Flash at all.
Not good.
But I heard it was bad, and the only good part is that montage at the end of seeing the different, DC universes that could exist out there, and the fact that Michael Keaton came back to play Batman. So it's just nostalgia bait masking itself as a fucking movie.
Yeah, they really banked on Keaton to just make everything okay in that one.
Yeah.
And I agree that's become a lazy move. I think especially since Spider-Man, but maybe even a bit before it, where like I loved this like Spider-Man was like a good story and it made sense to bring those guys in. And what a wonderful cinematic experience it was. But I think since then people have been like, okay, well, we don't have much story here, so let's see if people go crazy for this guy they haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, is there a plot point coming? And they're like, no, but it's this man you recognize from a different movie, and now he's in this fucking movie. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And bringing in the Spider-Man movie, bringing Willem Dafoe back as a Green Goblin was fucking great. I feel
Defoe
like
rocked it.
he's so good. I feel like literally 20 minutes before shooting, they just like fucking kicked him awake and was like, "You're the Green Goblin now." And he's like, "Okay." He's just right into it perfectly.
I'm the Green Goblin now. I've been the Green Goblin. I've been the Green Goblin since the 2000s. I love Defoe, man. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's
You
he's
ever
excellent.
you ever hear that story about the first time he realized he was famous?
No.
Somebody asked him in an interview once, they were like, when did you realize that you were famous? And he said, I was on the subway in New York and I heard somebody go, yeah, that's him. Nobody looks like that fucking guy.
That's perfect.
Which is
That's
so
fucking
true. He's
perfect.
got such a unique look and such a like wonderfully expressive face. I love that about him. I feel like I've heard a lot of actors be like the key to acting is like actually don't move your face too much. Like it's supposed to be subtle, don't overact. And Defoe's like my face goes crazy and I lean into it.
Yeah, there's a movie with Willem Dafoe and Nicolas Cage, and I forget the name of it. I think it was like a streaming only movie. Um it's on it's on one of the streaming sites, and it's incredible. Those two guys, they play insane guys. They're trying to like do some sort of robbery, and nothing works out, and it's like there's a story, but there almost isn't. But it's just so great to watch those two guys just be absolutely insane. Like
Yeah,
it's amazing.
that's so cool. I don't know what the movie is called, but if it's a movie with Nick Cage and Willem Dafoe, it should just be called This Is What You Want.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
that is exactly what I want. I want Willem Dafoe
Check
and
it
Nick
out.
Cage
Just
in a movie.
find it out on IMDb. Find out where, and then it'll be streaming somewhere. I recommend it, even though I don't remember the name of it. I watched it with Hunter once, like years ago, but it was fucking incredible. I was like, "What is this?" Like,
Yeah, I'm super into the Dafoe Cage combination.
yeah, it's a good one. All right, buddy. Well, I think we solved it. I think we proved that there was no ghosts, and I don't know who won the superhero debate, but it wasn't really that. We both basically kind of on the same page.
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
neither of us is super firm in our stance on that one,
yeah, I mean the
but
whole, it's some things you're only half-hearted committed to, but it's good to talk about
yeah.
superhero movies anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to plug? Obviously, your special will be coming out later, but you just want your Instagram, your YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, please follow me on my social media stuff. I do a lot of recovery content because I'm a sober guy. I'm going to have a lot of stand-up clips coming in the future from my special that I just recorded. And I do a fair bit of like cooking content stuff too. If you're into that kind of thing, you can find me on Instagram is my biggest channel, Andrew Barr Comedy, but I'm also on YouTube and TikTok, also Andrew Barr Comedy. Yeah, thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, no problem, man. And you can find me at Nick Beaton Comedy, both on Instagram and YouTube. Again, rate, review this podcast on wherever podcast app. Subscribe on YouTube if you're watching. Follow me on Instagram. Follow Bar on Instagram. And yeah, just help me get this thing off the ground. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining me. This has been Agree and Disagree with Nick Beaton. Guest Andrew Barr. We'll catch you next time.
Agree to disagree's a fancy way of saying fuck you.